Initially, Apple Music and Spotify seem like two really similar music streaming services. But after my testing, I actually think that they're for two completely different types of people. And so the question isn't which one is better, but it's instead, which one's the right one for you? And in today's video, I'm gonna help you figure that out. Okay, so obviously we have to start with songs. Spotify's library is an estimated 65 to 70 million versus Apple Music's at a reported 75 million. Spotify though has had a lot of controversy around their catalogs and some artists actually pulling their music from Spotify for varying reasons. So actually, Taylor Swift, who I think is one of the greatest of all time, in 2014 actually pulled all of her music from Spotify because Spotify was not fairly paying artists. And so obviously Taylor has like this huge platform and the ability to really make waves in the industry because she's amazing. Then in 2019, Spotify made some changes, and with Taylor's Lover album, she actually put her whole catalog back on Spotify, which uncoincidentally was the time that I restarted my Spotify subscription. But recently, another artist, Neil Young, just pulled his catalog from Spotify in protest of their podcast policies. And so I don't think a difference of 5 to 10 million songs is a huge deal, but it is a big deal if one of your favorite artists, like let's say Neil Young is your favorite artist, then it is worth looking to see where your favorite artists have their catalogs. From a tech point of view, Spotify and Apple Music have very different algorithms and aesthetics. Apple really builds out its UI based on like artists and album recommendations, which feels like really reminiscent of iTunes, whereas Spotify really builds out their UI on the personalization of like playlists and stuff. And I honestly think that that's a better method. For example, the Spotify Daily Mix not only pairs songs that it knows that you like based on how much you listen to them, but then it also throws in new songs to check out so you can kind of like discover new music. And then they also have the Discover Weekly. Whereas Apple Music, I find that the recommendations are not nearly as good. And I think that you should know that there's definitely a little bit of a bias here because I've used Spotify for longer, so it just knows me better. But in general, through all the research and stuff, it just seems like Apple Music doesn't have as good of a recommendation system. On Reddit, one user said that if you love a song on Apple Music, that helps the recommendation system. So if you're an Apple Music user, hopefully that helps you. Also, Spotify really plays into like cultural relevance, which is going to be an important point, so remember it for later in the video. Apple Music's clear competitive advantage is the way that it works with other Apple hardware products. For example, Dolby Atmos support on the AirPods 3, AirPods Pro, even MacBook Pros after 2018 is pretty phenomenal, and spatial audio is one of my all-time favorite features. Like, it makes it so Apple Music is something that I really gravitate towards because it adds to the soundstage in just a really like dynamic way. It makes the soundstage feel wider and like you can actually hear instruments scattered across the room. And then you also have like head tracking features, and they also have lossless and high-res lossless audio, but you can't listen to the high-res lossless audio without an external DAC, and so I feel like this is clearly a feature for audiophiles. But the other stuff that I mentioned I think is more relevant to like just the average consumer. And it also makes it clear to me that Apple's focus is on these audio and building out the ecosystem features, whereas Spotify's competitive advantage is like the curation and actually the social aspect and the cultural relevance aspect. Stuff like being able to see what your friends are listening to if you're on the Spotify desktop app, being able to create a mixed playlist with friends, following your friends, and also having things like how many times a song was streamed be public. That all feels really social media-y to me, and like Spotify Wrapped was brilliant and consistently takes up my timeline every year in a way that Apple Music just doesn't. Spotify also has podcasting built in, but I personally prefer the way Apple does it with having two separate applications. I could see the appeal of having all of your audio experiences in one app, but I just don't love it because if I want to listen to a podcast and then keep it on screen but play music, I can't do that in Spotify. Whereas with Apple Music, I can. But Spotify is very heavily investing in the podcast arena. They just bought 3 podcasting networks, and they also bought the rights to Call Her Daddy and some other really prominent shows. And I think they're doing this because podcasts are easier to monetize, like they can throw ads in. And also, cultural relevance is just one of the most important aspects of Spotify because they need to make money directly from the subscriptions in a way that Apple just doesn't. Like, Apple Music makes Apple's products better. They don't need to make a profit on it. Spotify needs to make a profit because they don't offer hardware products like that. As humans, we're really driven by these emotional and social connections, and so it makes sense Spotify is spending their money there. So I think in terms of which curated experience is better for you, it really depends on if you care more about audio quality or the social aspect, and also which one you've already been using, because having a new music service relearn all of your listening habits and what you like is honestly super annoying. Curated experiences with a focus on quality are normally better for the individual, and that's actually why I've teamed up with a ton of my creator friends to build our own curated platform. Nebula. Nebula is a Streamy Award nominated streaming service with some of the best tech educational and video essay content on the internet. It's owned by a lot of creators, including myself, and the NBT team is actually in the early stages right now of creating exclusive content for Nebula Originals. And actually, there's already a video exclusive on Nebula right now, which is my desk setup tour. So my normal videos will be on there ad-free, and then also exclusive things that I can kind of test out that maybe the YouTube algorithm wouldn't be okay with. I'm genuinely so honored to be part of Nebula because so many exceptional creators post on there, including some of my favorite creator friends like MKBHD and Renee Ritchie. And the best way to get access to Nebula is actually in a bundle with this video's sponsor, CuriosityStream. CuriosityStream is a subscription streaming service with thousands of documentaries and nonfiction titles. I actually just started watching one of their films last night, all about Mr. Beast and his rise to fame on YouTube, and it's great so far. I'm actually gonna finish it right after I finish filming this video. And so if you wanna watch that documentary with me or any of their other thousands of incredible titles, plus all of that amazing content on Nebula, you can go to curiositystream.com/NBT and get it for under $15 a year. It's not a trial. As long as you're subscribed to CuriosityStream, you get access to both, and I'll leave that link in the description below. Thank you so much for all of your support and watching this one, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.